So here's the follow-up video to wiring the rear of my Pioneer 1000 with the turn signals that are integrated into the brake lights, the stock brake lights. In the previous video I showed that I'm using this Tekonsha trailer light controller, and here's the wire that I ran from the front, the engine compartment. I've got everything just temporarily wired up for testing right now. So this is my right turn signal, actually left turn signal. This was my right turn signal, and this is the ground wire, a ground wire that you have to connect to the trailer brake controller. The other connections coming into the controller is the stop signal, and what I use for this is the factory brake light wire. And then we also have the ground, or not the ground, the parking lights wire. And on the Pioneer 1000, it's run as two separate wires for both sides, but since I'm intercepting everything back here, I'm just going to be splicing the wires together for the parking lights. They both come from the same spot, they just run two separate leads to the back. And what I did is, you have the connector, it's on the frame at the back of the bed right here. If you undo this connector, I cut it out of its wire loom, and this wire runs back along your Pioneer right through here and then plugs in over here. So I pulled that apart to find out exactly what wires did what, and I was just guessing, and I guessed right. Didn't use it as test light. The two brown wires that go into this are for your parking lights for both sides. And you have two wires that are green with a yellow stripe, and one of them is your left turn or your left stoplight, and one of them is your right stoplight. To figure out which one's which, you can trace the wires or just do what I did. You have a 50-50 chance of getting it right. Temporarily wire it up, put on your turn signal, and if it flashes the correct side, you have it correct. In my case, of course, it was wrong, so I just switched it around. So it's actually pretty simple. You've just got your inputs, which are your right turn signal, which comes from the front of the vehicle, from the turn signal switch. Your stop switch, which uses the factory. So once again, we just tied into the green with yellow stripe wire before it gets to the back lights. You know, we cut it and spliced it in and just put them both together into the one input for the stop light. So when you press your brake pedal, it lights up this line. And then our turn signal inputs, you have to ground it, and then your tail lights, what they mean by that is your parking lights. So it's the light brown wires. So once again, spliced it in the input, the two light brown wires, I just put them together into the input. And on your output side, you've got your right turn signal / stop light. So that one runs to one of the green with yellow stripe wires that goes to the right side of the Pioneer, and then the other one goes to the left side of the Pioneer, is your yellow line, which is your left stop turn signal for this side. Your tail light line is just your brown wire. Once again, you just splice it into the two brown wires to send your parking light feed out. And then we have this ground wire that the output here, and I'm just going to tape this up. It won't be used because I did not cut the ground that goes to the tail lights. I just left the factory ground wire intact. So once I get this all wired up, I'm going to take this and mount it to it's got double-sided tape on it, and it's waterproof. I'll mount it to the inside of the frame right here with the tape. I'll bundle all the wires up, put everything back in its loom, and tied it up, and then I'll show you what that looks like. The first group of wires soldered and heat shrinked on the input side. Okay, so I've got everything soldered, taped up in wire loom, and running up to the back, plugged back into the harness, and I mounted the controller to the inside frame rail right here. And it's got double-sided tape and then a zip tie for good measure on the bottom here. So let's make sure everything works. Alright, so let's turn on the parking lights, which would be the headlights. and then turn on the left turn signal. And now see, if you press the brake with the left turn signal on, it keeps flashing and the brakes come on. And then we can turn on the right turn signal. Same thing, press the brakes. Alright. And then we'll turn on the flashers. Everything works as it should. Alright, so I hope this video helped you out. If you have any questions, leave me a comment below, and I'll try to return. Thanks. See you next time.